welcome back to my book review. I'm going to do a book review of the books I read in January. So one of them was an ebook, and the two were paperback, and one was hard copy. So let's get started. The first book I want to talk about is the ebook called An Unusual Boy. This book was so beautifully written, and it's a story of a mother who has unconditional love for her child, for her son, who's been prescribed as neurodiverse, whatever that means. He has an incredible memory. He remembers every single thing that ever happened to him from when he was a baby. And the way he is, I don't want to say his behavior because it wasn't necessarily bad behavior, but his way of being and the way he traverses through the world and his honesty and directness get him into a situation that is really troublesome for the family and the school. And it's really, really good. It's really heartwarming. It's beautiful. So it's called An Unusual Boy. I really, really enjoyed that book. Very good. So the next book is Dear Reader. This is an absolutely, not only is it visibly beautiful, but it is a beautiful book. Look at the cover. It's just the colors and the gold embossing on it. I ordered this from Picador, which is in the UK, because I got it for Julia for Christmas, and then of course I had to have a copy too because she, I wanted to read it. And what it is Kathy Rinse and Brick, and it basically is taking you traveling throughout all the books that got her through in life. And again, this book is chock full of book darts, just like the book cast. And the reason I did that, because she recommends different books that got her through. And so every time she'd recommend a book that I might want to read, I put a book dart there. Those book darts are great. I still have quite a few in my little container, and they're nicer than Post-it notes. But it is exactly like journeying through a bookstore and just looking and getting lost in all the different stories. But even the better part of that is she tells you how they affected her in her life through her happy times, her tragic times, and what books got her through. Really, really worth reading. I think you can order it in the United States. I couldn't find it in Canada, but it is really a book worth having. And it's a wonderful gift for someone or a gift for yourself. And this is going to be like a keepsake because I know I will always go back to it and grab a book. As a matter of fact, I am reading one of the books in here right now. It's called Red, Crimson, and White. I think that's what it's called. So yeah, really nice book. Beautiful book to add to your library. The next book that I read was from our book club, the Star of the North book club, and it's called Shaggy Bean. Shaggy Bean is a novel by Douglas Stewart, and it's won both the National Book Award longlist and the 2020 Booker Prize. One of the ladies that chooses our books in our book club loves to pick books that are award winners. So this is one of them, and it doesn't disappoint. Shaggy Bean is the name of a little boy who lives in Scotland. And apparently in Scotland, it's actually Shaggy Bean because his real name is Hugh, and the short for Hugh is Shaggy Bean. My daughter's mother-in-law, who's Scottish, told me that. So it's all about the time during Margaret Thatcher's reign over Scotland as the Prime Minister, and what happened with the coal industry and all of that. But this story, that's during the time of the story, and the story is about Shaggy and his siblings dealing with their mother's alcoholism. And it's really, so good. So tragic, but so good. Like, I would give this book definitely a 5 stars for sure. It says, Shaggy Bean is the unforgettable story of Hugh Shaggy Bean, a sweet and lonely boy who spends his 1980s childhood in rundown public housing in Glasgow, Scotland, taking care of his beloved mother, Agnes. And she's a very proud woman, and she kind of thinks she's like Elizabeth Taylor, but she's an alcoholic and spends most of the family's weekend benefits on extra strong lager and bottles of vodka. So it's a heartbreaking story of addiction, sexuality, and love. Shaggy Bean is an epic portrayal of a working class family and a queer childhood from a masterful novelist, one of the most talented debut writers of recent years. And apparently, the author, Douglas Stewart, this story was written to not so much as an autobiography, but it mirrors what his life was like. So I love getting lost in this kind of a novel. So good. How many pages was this? Some people like to know that. 430, but it didn't feel like a long book to me. And I love it when they have book club questions in the back of the book. I really do. So if you want to get lost in a really good novel, I thought, in all honesty, that I was not going to like this book. I was like, Scotland, little boy, like, ugh, like, what am I going to relate to this? But I was wrong. That's how you know it's well written. Such a good story. So if you want a really good story, I recommend Shaggy Bean by Douglas Stewart. And my last, I read 4 books in January, is The Push by Ashley Audrey. Ashley Audrey is a Canadian author, and this book was Good Morning America's choice as a book club book for, I think, January. And again, this one, I don't want to say too much, so I'm just going to see what it says here. Blythe Connor is determined to be the warm, comforting mother to her new baby, Violet, that she never had. So Blythe never had a great mom, so she's trying to be that for her daughter. But in the thick of motherhood's exhausting early days, Blythe doesn't find the connection with her daughter she expected. She's convinced something is wrong with Violet. She is distant, rejects affection, and becomes increasingly disruptive at play school. So Blythe is wondering, is this all in her head? Her husband thinks that she's imagining things because he has a great relationship with Violet. And then they have another child, son, Sam, and with him, she has the natural maternal connection she always dreamed of. But even Violet seems to love her little brother. But I'm telling you, the last page of this book, the last word of this book, I shrieked out loud. I was like, oh my God. Oh my God. Another 5-star, this one. All 3 of these books to me were 5 stars. Because they were all excellent stories, well written, easy to read, and like the ending on this one, oh my goodness. So let's see how long this one's. About 305 pages, this one. So An Unusual Boy, I think, was about the same length as this. It's hard to tell when you're reading on an ebook. They don't give the page numbers, but it was about as long as The Push, I think. Shaggy Bean and The Push were funnily all about parent-child relationship and how a child that can be a square peg trying to fit into a round hole. All 3 of these sort of dealt with those issues, and that was not on purpose. That's just a coincidence. But I think because January is kind of a blah time, that I was really desperately looking for some books that were stories. So it started off with Dear Reader, and that just opened me up to wanting to read so many more books. Oh, I can't even tell you. And then our book club book, Shaggy Bean, and then An Unusual Boy and The Push. So any one of these books, I highly recommend. I highly recommend this one for sure, because it's kind of more like a reference, I guess, but it's a memoir at the same time. But it's more of a reference book. So if you want to know some great books, this is a great reference. But any one of these stories, and the one, An Unusual Boy, will not disappoint. I promise you will love them. Any one of these books, and the one, An Unusual Boy, I promise will not disappoint you. I think you will really, truly enjoy them. So that's my review for January, the books I read in January. Like I said, I'm not those people that can read 20 books in a month. There's no way. I'm so busy knitting those what's his name? Bernie. Those Bernie knits. They are so popular, and we've been just knitting our fingers off. But it's fun, but it just doesn't afford me time to do much else, especially read. So I was quite surprised that I was able to read 4 books. I don't think I'll be reading 4 in February. I was thinking of doing my February and March review together, but I think I won't. I'll just do them month by month, because not every month's going to be the same as far as how many books you read, right? So I hope you guys enjoyed that short review, and I hope you go out and find some wonderful tales to read. And we'll see you next time, or we'll see you in my vlog coming up real soon. Bye.